Peoples. All right, let's try to get this done. I'm trying to use a new little stand here. See how this works. All right. Here we go. I am live. Oh my goodness. What's cracking, folks? I'm the Savage of Wall Street coming at you live uh, from the Tahoe area. And so, trying to see what's going to happen, um, this coming up week of April the 7th. And just all around figuring out if we're going to have, are we going to have a Bloody Monday 2.0 like we had in the 80s, right? Or are we going to have, I don't know, a dead cat bounce, right? Um, so much that can happen because of the tariffs, right? We know the tariffs are a thing, and um, people are very afraid right now. But before we get any further, um, let me just say that no matter what happens, I'm having a good time. You guys want to see something? You see that? See those beautiful mountains right there? Look at that. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm trying my best um, to show you guys kind of, where I'm at and just a good time all around that I'm having. Um, Thanks to the gamblers. Thank you to the gamblers um, because it's because of their premiums that I'm able to now come to you live from one of the places that I really enjoy, which is the Reno and Tahoe area, right? Um, it makes no sense to trade um, and not reap off any rewards, right? Just like it makes no sense for me to be in the credit card game, accruing points left and right, and then not going anywhere. You got to burn those points, right? And just the same, I feel like with the premiums that I generate from covered calls, I have to burn that money, man. Bottom line, right? Um, so what am I doing? I'm just hanging out with the family at this point, having a good time. We're going to we're in a casino, hanging out, gambling with gamblers' money. That's pretty much why we're here. I've made a nice little chunk of change in the last few years, and you guys that do follow this channel, you guys know I like to travel to nice places, but I don't like to use my own money. That's kind of silly. Not that I wouldn't be able to use my own money, but I just if you don't have to, why, right? So I use premium, that I generated with cash secure puts and cover calls, and I put it to good use so that I can bring the family, have a great time, eat some delicious food, drink some delicious drinks, and just have fun. The kids are at the pool right now with their mom. Thank you to trading. Thank you to the bloody day that we had um, on Friday and the bloody day on Thursday and just the bloody week altogether. And before that we had a nice little dead cat bounce, which I told you guys about. If you follow me and you know that you've been watching these videos, you know that I called it, man. I said, hey guys, we're going down. I said Tesla is going down to the 200 area, 190, 180. I called NVDIA. I called NVIDIA at 90. It's still not there. I said, before the end of summer, NVIDIA is going to touch $90 a share, which is why I've been pounding the table for people to write cash secure puts. This is not financial advice, mind you, right? But I've been pounding the table because I myself have been writing cash secure puts on NVIDIA, $90 and $100 cash secure puts for like 2027, 2026. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? Worst case scenario, I get NVIDIA at $80 and $70. So what is wrong with that? Absolutely nothing, right? Um, so are you interested in making money, man? That's about the bottom line, right? I mean, everybody is interested in making money, and then everybody else is asking, hey, Savage, what's the one ticker, that's gonna make me a millionaire, right? What's the one company that she get in? I don't want to do the hard work. I want you to do it for me, but I want to reap off all the benefits. That's basically what I hear at work and like people from the neighborhood, right? And that's just not the way it works. You're gonna have to do some hard work. You're gonna have to figure out how the options market works, right? And once you have an investment set, right? Once you decide to take the plunge and decide, okay, this is kind of what I want to do, and this is the positions that I want to take on these companies, then is when you start adding, right? You start adding and you say, I want to buy, this specific company at this price point. And once you buy it, then you say, okay, well, um, what am I going to get out of it, right? I mean, think about Palantir. Just an example, right? I I've been pounding the table on Palantir for years, right? It was $8 at a point, and I told people you need to buy Palantir. Not financial advice, but people that were asking me, what's the one stock? And I said, you know what? It's not a one stock. There's 3, 4 stocks that I'm really looking at, and I'm hoarding at this point, right? SoFi was one of them. Palantir was one of them. C3.ai was another one, and I believe Unity. And so, guess what? Those companies went to Palantir went to 115, $110, right? SoFi went to $18. Unity went to like 30 something. C3.ai went to like the 40s. So there's opportunity, right? And so at this point, I just don't understand why there was always some people that are always just, I'm a bear by nature, right? I like bearish markets because to me personally, they're easily to navigate, right? Um, but also because I just think a lot of companies are overvalued, especially in the tech sector, right? Some of them are just not making any money. So if you're not making a profit, to me, it's just it's red flags left and right. Now that does not mean that it's not okay to take a risk on a company that you have done your due diligence in, and that you decide you're going to take the plunge in because you see a future, right? SoFi was actually not making money for a little bit, and so there was just a lot of cash burn, and there was the runway. We didn't know what the runway was going to be, but alas, they started making a profit. They're now making 20, 25 cents on earnings per share, and it's just gonna keep getting better because they keep growing 30, 40% year on out, right? Year over year. And so at this point, it's just a matter of time before it explodes. All right, let's see what do we have here on the chat. We got Sujal Sharma. Hey, what's up, Sujal? Thank you for watching, man. Appreciate it. Thumbs up, guys. Bentley, do you know what Gorilla Tag is on VR? No, I do not know that. Beach Boy, yo, yo, Beachy, what's going on, man? Hey, can you do me a favor? It's hard for me to do it right now, but if you could put a link on the Discord so the people can watch it, that'd be great, man. Because I'm just hearing a lot of FUD at this point, and I'm just trying to make sure that people don't freak out and sell off, right? Because that's kind of not what we try to do when we're option sellers, right? In the Discord, um, most of the people are savvy when it comes to having a good um, analysis, right, and a good feel on not pulling the trigger based on emotions. So that being said, I'm going all over digital media right now. I'm seeing what the pundits are saying, It is hilarious to me how Fox News is saying that who cares about your 401ks, right? Who cares about it? You should be willing to take all that pain because if you believe in Trump, then you should definitely let the 401k burn. You know, I don't understand, man, because if that would have happened during Joe Biden's administration, they would be calling for his head on a spike at this point. So, those idiots in Fox, I don't, it's a propaganda channel at this point. And I don't even pay attention to them. But it's just, they do have a reach, and their target audience, sadly, most of them don't like to go and look at a different opinion so that they can then make their own decision. It seems like the FAUX news, they like to kind of tell people what to think and reinforce what a lot of base Republicans think, and that's just, I think it's kind of sad because it dumps down the population, and it dumps down you know um, intelligence discourse, right? Ricardo Canales, hey buddy, how you doing? Tiff, hi, hey Tiff, what it is, man? Yeah, so these tariffs, man. The U.S. markets have spoken. They've said exactly what they think about these trade war tensions, and China retaliated against Trump and the tariffs, and we have a lot more to lose because last time I checked, we really like cheap stuff. We don't like to pay a lot of money for shorts and pants and shirts, right? We like to buy them pretty cheap. For hats, and everything's made in China. So it's not like we have any of the raw materials here in the U.S. So I don't know. I just think that we're shooting ourselves in the foot at this point. The numbers that they've given us are cooked. They're not even real numbers, right? And the U.S., in certain situations they do pay a little more, but if you think about it, they don't have to. They decide to move their companies elsewhere, and so they have to pay, twice, so they can, export things and import things. It's kind of silly. So you rolled out some cash secure puts. I have to do it also. I have 32 cash secure puts for 26. Ricardo, I don't know what you're talking about. Are we talking about? What are we talking about? You gotta give me the ticker. I'm sorry, I can't go back on the. Hold on, let me see. I can't see what you're talking about, Ricardo. So let's see. Cannon on a Hill. Hopefully you'll never hear about Hillary's emails again after a signal. That was just so stupid. She had a lot of baggage because of her husband, right? And this is not me being political. This is a fact. And people just didn't want a woman president. It's just the bottom line. There's a lot of men in this country that just think that the country will not be run well by a woman, which I think it's a ridiculous thing to say because Margaret Thatcher showed that there can be a woman that's head of state, and then you got President Sheinbaum right now in Mexico that's showing us that a woman can lead a really big country, and it's one of the best trading partners or biggest trading partners that the U.S. has, and she's dealing quite well with the administration she has. I don't know. It's just I honestly don't think that President Harris would have our 401ks minus 15% right now, and the stock market's down massively since the orange Cheeto guy took office. 10% in 2 days, Friday and Thursday, 10%. That's insane to me. Tiff. And then you try to sell those goods on other countries who are also pissed with you that they started creating trade agreements without you. That's fine. It's true. Absolutely true, Tiff. So last time I checked, right, you have a schoolyard and you have 6 kids over there. One kid's a fucking idiot because he's trying to fucking hoard the best toys, or he's trying to hoard the one football or soccer ball, and then the other kids are like, dude, are we gonna play or what? The guy's like, nah, I don't want to play with you guys because you guys are gonna making it hard for me, and I want you to take it easy on me. So then the other five kids say, you know what, fuck you, how's that? How about we go and get a tennis ball and then just decide to play catch, and then they leave the kid alone by himself with his football, and now they're playing tennis, or they're playing whatever without him. They're playing tag. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's just an analogy, right? But they don't need, the United States. And I'm sure that the United States does have some goods that they appreciate. But at the end of the day, I mean, what does the United States really create that other countries cannot live without? Because of because of the global network and how things work now. You need a phone, you can go, Huawei, right? There's Samsung making some great phones. I actually use Samsung myself. I don't like Apple. And it's not to say that I don't like the Apple products and all that stuff. I think they're cool, but I just like the freedom that the Samsung gives me because I can play with it a lot more. And so, shoes, we don't even make shoes here. Levi's was like some great um, jeans that we used to make in the U.S., but then we started building we built that factory somewhere, somewhere, and then you have to pay taxes on those factories, right? You got to pay the tariffs. So yeah, the U.S. pays more in tariffs because they decide to have fucking, all these factories all over the world because they're greedy, right? The CEOs, all these CFOs, and all the companies, they're greedy. They want to grow 30, 40% year over year, and that's an unsustainable number, right? So anyways, we are where we are, and at this point we just have to react to these tariffs, right? And how do we do that? um, you can sit on the sidelines and do nothing, right? um, you can take positions and do nothing. You can cross your arms. You can cross your arms, level 99, and buy some shares of like Unity and NVDIA and C3.ai, SOFI, Microsoft, Tesla. You can buy them and wait, 5 years, 6 years to see what happens, right? Or have you been looking at Microsoft for the last year and you thought it was too expensive? Have you been looking at Amazon and you thought it was too expensive? Well, it's a lot more cheaper now, isn't it? Look at Unity. Unity went from $30, $28 to 25, 24, 22, bumped up to 27. And what if you would have bought them at 30? What if you would have bought them at 35, right? Right now, you'd just be underwater. But if you do know the game of options and you've been selling covered calls, or you bought with cash secure puts until you got a sign and then sold covered calls, and you've been wheeling it, you've been making some good money, and that's pretty much the reason that I decided to go live today, because I'm seeing that a lot of people are freaking out, and that's the word, right? A lot of people are freaking out. I actually got into this conversation last night when I was gambling in one of the tables, and somehow we got into the conversation of the tariffs. It's just somebody started talking about tariffs, and then and people were just basically saying, yeah, I have some friends that are freaking out because their 401ks are going down 20%, 25% since Trump took office, and I'm just like, God damn. Now think of it: if you were close to retirement, right? If this was the year that you were going to retire, you just saw 25% of your portfolio evaporate. 40 years you've been working, 50 years you've been working, and you decided to retire. And then, say, 10 years out of that portfolio just left. That is insane. But that's just the way you have to look at it, right? Some of us are a little younger, and I think we're going to ride it out because, we're in the stock market, we're doing options, and we could take a more cavalier approach to things because we know that if we get put some shares, we're going to do well because we're going to then what? We're going to sell covered calls at a higher strike point than what we got the stock, and we're going to make premium, and we're going to rinse and repeat. It's just that simple, right? Now, for somebody that does not know options, for someone that is kind of a novice in the stock market, this is a very scary time. And I hope somebody that is a novice is watching me, because you do not have to be scared, right? Warren Buffett said it best: when everyone else is in fear, right? Be greedy. Be afraid when everybody else is greedy. And right now, the fear index is at like extreme levels. So that right there tells you that we are somewhere where we could start taking opportunities, start taking positions, and start building our portfolio a little more. That's just personal, right? I mean, you could do whatever you want with your investments. That's all on you. But um, personally, I've been adding. I've actually been going at market price, and I've been doing cash secure puts, and I'm praying that I get assigned, so then that my averages drop. Right? Who doesn't want to have SOFI at $8? Right now, you could do, $9 cash secure puts for 2027, bring in like $1.50, I think, and then you'll be getting SOFI at 750. Worst case scenario, right? SOFI is like nine something right now. We haven't we haven't been there in a while. But it's just the way that it works. If you did not sell at 18 or 17, um, you're holding the bag, right? But if you've been covering yourself, and you're taking profit on the way down, you'll be making a killing. All right, let's see what we got here. I saw you rolled out cash secure puts. So, again, Ricardo, I don't know what. Oh, let's see here. Hiller's emails, Cannon on the Hill. Okay, Ricardo, hopeful to get two at 12 for sometime in 26. Uh, Ricardo, you got to help me out here, man. I don't know what ticker you're talking about right now. Beach Boy, we had a 4% down day here as well, and 5% tech stocks. Yeah, Beach Boy, it's brutal, man. It's brutal for a lot of people that bought at the highs. I know for a fact there's people that bought NVIDIA at 150, for a fact, right? There's people that bought Tesla right now when it was like at 450, for a fact. Those people right now they're in fear, and they are thinking of maybe selling to take those losses and cover, right? We're not even gonna talk about the margin calls that are gonna happen on Monday. I do know that some some companies that I had cash secure puts on, actually to 2026 and 2027, I got put those shares. I still have extrinsic and definitely intrinsic value, but they still got put to me because people, they're trying to make money somehow, and they're trying to generate some cash flow so that they can cover their positions tomorrow. And if you decided to go on margin, right now it's actually a pretty scary time for you, because this is the other side of the coin, right? When stocks are going up and the market is doing well, and you do margin calls, right? You go on margin, buy stuff on margin. You're always able to cover because the stocks go up, right? However, when we have dramatic drops the way that it's been happening, it's just really hard to predict what's going to happen. And if you're out on margin, all your investments are down, and so if your investments fall below a threshold, your broker is going to say, hey dude, you don't have the cash amount over here to to kind of make us feel that you're in a good spot. At any point you could just shut the bed, and we need to make sure we have our money, right? And so that's going to happen tomorrow. A lot of stuff is going to happen. I think we're going to have a nice little sell-off, but anything can happen, right? All right, what do we got here? Ricardo Canales, just talking moves I saw in the Discord I need to make. All right, Ricardo, that's it, man. You gotta, keep your ear to the ground and figure out, what is it that you want to do. Have a plan. Say for two, for argument's sake, right? Let's say tomorrow we don't go down. Um, what are you gonna do if the stocks decide to have the stock market decides to have a dead cat bounce tomorrow, right? What are your thoughts? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna get caught flat-footed and kind of um, act paralyzed and then you say, "Shit, I don't know what to do because I had planned for the stock market to fall. Now I don't know. I don't know if I want to buy. I don't know if I want to sell. What do I want to do? Have a plan, right? Let's see here. Cannon on the Hill. German had a lady, from what I understand, she did well. Germany did have Merkel, right? So yeah, so Angela Merkel, man, she was no joke. She was also a scientist. I mean, it's funny to me how all over the world, it seems like countries decide to pick the best of the best to represent them, right, in the world stage. For some reason, we decided to pick a fucking buffoon, a fucking failed reality TV buffoon who likes to pound his chest and defecate in his Pampers. Because do not make no mistake, he wears Pampers. Um, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but whenever he's around a lot of people, they complain of the smell because he takes a I don't think he has full control of his bowel movements, and of course I'm not his doctor. I don't know this. However, he is a public figure, and I could joke about it, right? So in the spirit of jest, I can do that. And to me, it looks like he sheds his pants. And whenever there's kids around, nobody tells it like it is more than children. And they always go and they make this face like, ew. He sheds his pants, man. That's who we decided in the United States to pick to represent us. Because we are a country that, for some reason, is still feeling the effects of racism, and still we don't want to accept the fact that a woman could do as good, if not a better job than a man can. For some reason, we have a lot of chauvinists, and then this is my personal opinion, of course, right? But I just, they went out and voted. I mean, that's the bottom line, right? All these people that we can say whatever we want about them. We could think that they're below intelligent quotient, right? But at the end of the day, they voted, right? And they outvoted everybody else. And people that decided to thumb their nose at the black lady because they didn't want a black lady president, now our fucking their 401ks are going down in the drain. And now they've lost Medicaid. A lot of people that had children with disabilities that decided to vote for Trump. These people they've just lost a lot of funding for classes for kids that have mental handicaps, right? And so, I mean, this is a fact. We are taking so much money away from education. We decided to start burning books and start banning books. We've decided to take funding away from our veterans, and just look what happened. Yesterday, marches all over the United States. What's funny is, back in the day, whenever there was marches, I used to see a lot of black people and a lot of Hispanic people. But this time is different. This time I saw a lot of white people, and my faith is being restored because, yes, the United States is a melting pot, right? And yes, the United States was founded on the backs of black people. I mean, it's a fact. And we have done so wrong by our African American brothers and sisters, and never have we flat out said, "I'm sorry." We promised them 40 acres and a mule, and we never gave that to them. And they have always saved us from ourselves and our worst, and in our worst impulses. It's always been African American people that have marched and have taken the worst of it. You look at the civil rights movement. You look at the Black Panther movement. Um, you look at uh, suffrage and the voting for women's rights, right? And you just look at how always black people have been at the forefront of all these movements and have always taken the worst from the anti from the riot police, right? And so it's not like that anymore, you know. And I don't blame them. I don't blame Hispanic people because, you know, we did our best. You know, we tried to tell everyone what was going on. We were out there, we were marching, we were voicing our opinion, and we were telling you this is not going to vote well for for the United States and people from New York, especially. And I lived in New York for 5 years, and everybody knew Trump is a snake and a con man, and he has always used other people to do his dirty work. And the sad thing is that you have all these sycophants now that because of their greed for power or money, recognition, or just for a pure full fact that they hate others that don't look like them, um, they've decided to destroy our way of life, and they've decided that um, that they're trying to do away with the American experiment of democracy, right? And it's kind of crazy to say this, but it's happening, man. And right now, like I say, my faith has been restored because I saw a lot of white older males and white older women out there. A lot of them are veterans, and you know, I walked a little bit and kind of, you know, wanted to see what's going on. And you know, this old gentleman came up to me. He's a blonde guy. You know, he's like, "Hey, you don't need to be here. Don't worry about it. We fucked it up. It was our families that did this. You take the day off, amigo." And I just thought that was the most fucking hilarious thing because one, I wasn't there for that. I was just brown. No, I mean, I was just I was being nosy, right? And as a brown person, right? I know that the police are gonna whip my ass if I start doing too much. So I was trying to be quiet, right? But to have somebody wearing some green or olive, fatigues, and tell me that, I'm like, God damn it, like this is what needs to happen. People need to fucking take accountability, and people need to see that united as a nation, we are so much stronger, and that I honestly think there is more people that are good in the United States than are not. And I think that we have way more in common than what sets us apart. And this is one of the reasons I love the stock market. And this is one of the reasons that I love investing, is because the market doesn't care whether I'm green, Hispanic, Chinese, black, white. It just does its thing, and I am able to capitalize on it if I'm, patient and smart, and I get my ass kicked, and if I get too greedy and I don't know how to navigate it. It's so simple, right? And so, I'm kind of losing myself here, in what happened to me yesterday when I was, walking down the street. But it's just awesome to see people that are deciding to fight back, against tyranny, fight back against all the negativity that's out there, and people who are trying to take our country back to what it can be, right? Which is the land of opportunity for everybody. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter, what happened where you were before you got here. What matters is that you're here and you're trying to make a better life for yourself or your family, right? You're trying to become an asset to this nation so that it can become a more productive America, right? United States of America. And I think that's kind of what we all should be aspiring to if you live here in the United States. Now, I know there's a lot of people watching me right now that are like in Europe. Some of you guys are like in the Middle East, right? Some people probably in India. Some people are in Latin America. And I thank you for watching me. But we have to navigate this charged political climate, whether we like it or not, right? So which best way to navigate it than to um, get into the options market and be one of the be the casino, not the gambler, right? All right, what do we got here? Let's see here. Sorry, guys, I don't mean to lose myself in a rant, but premium of the option. The sky's falling. The sky's falling. Savage Savers. What up, Photo? Yeah, man, I love it. I love seeing Photo here. Um, let's see here. Emmanuel Cabrera. Your video could, I don't know, it's incomplete. Tiff, I'm still not really touching my emergency funds. I like some more certainty before I do. I'd rather pay more for good stock than catching a falling knife. No, I agree. I agree, Tiff. I agree, man. But this is the deal, and then correct me if I'm wrong. But if you like Unity at $25, right, and you were doing $23, $22 cash accure puts, why wouldn't you like it at 16? Why wouldn't you like it at 17? You're taking your average down. So why don't you sell some cash accure puts for January and bring in a couple of bucks for $16, or $15 strikes? In which case, if say we're staying around here, right? You get put those shares, your average is down, and you get paid to buy those shares. Or you can get the premium, and that premium that you generate, you can buy shares right now in case we fly up, right? So could we go to 10 with Unity? Of course. Could we go to 12? Of course. We could also go to 20, right? Because we are definitely in oversold positions right now. Just look at the RSI, right? Look at the Bollinger. On all these stocks, we're oversold. Now the question is, how oversold are we, right? Nobody is going to know when the reversal is, and that's the point, right? Nobody knows when the reversal is going to happen. So if you think catching a falling knife is something that you don't want to do, right? But how do you know, right? If you're doing it on stock that you're willing to hold 5 to 10 years, is it really a falling knife? Or are you just taking a position and being certain, and you're basically saying to the market, I'm sure what I'm holding, right? You know what you're holding. You know the company that you're investing in is a good company. So if you want to average down, there's nothing wrong with that. But again, anything can happen, right? I think that you don't have to touch your emergency fund at all. However, if you see opportunity, it's okay to nibble. There's nothing wrong with nibbling, and that's kind of what I do. I nibble, right? Because we don't know where the bottom is. We didn't know where the top was. I knew we were frothy when Jim Cramer goes on and starts saying, I love NVIDIA at 150. Buy, buy, buy. And I'm just like, what? That's my fucking cue to sell some 160 covered calls for 2027 for $25. Guess what? I bought those back for $10. And then I sold some 130s for 2027. And I'm sitting pretty, just always collecting, right? And then it went down. So now at this point, I could either buy back those covered calls or do absolutely nothing. It doesn't matter, right? Because I'm holding a stock that I believe in. NVIDIA is going to be $500 a share in the future. Question is, how long is it going to take? The question is, how are these tariffs going to affect us? I don't think Jerome Powell is going to sit on the sidelines and watch the country burn. And this is kind of one of the key points that I like to make is Trump is trying to crash the economy because he needs to, he has a lot of debt. and he needs to restructure that debt. The interest that he's paying right now for a lot of that debt is 8%, 9%, right? And he would love to restructure that debt at 4%. You follow? Make no mistake, Trump doesn't care about anybody except himself. It's just the way it is. Everybody knows that. And whoever doesn't know that or doesn't think that, there's a bridge in San Francisco. It's gold. It's gold during some summer days because when the sun hits the water, the reflection of the water makes it look kind of golden. But it's usually red during most days. There's this bridge I'd like to sell you. Give me $5 million for it. It could be yours. All right, here we go. Ricardo Canales, sorry, GME. Okay, GME. Okay, well, where's GME at, right? Let's see. So, GME, last time I checked, was, let's see here. All right. You know, GME is going to be $30 a share, right? Right now it's 23.49. Okay. Did you like GameStop at 30? Did you like it at 27? Did you like it at 28? I personally wrote some $20 cash secure puts for 2026 and brought in a nice chunk. I also sold some 22s. You know, so at this point it's just adding. You know, I actually would be averaging up. But the premiums were there. The premiums were there, and I just said, you know what? Why not make money off of this? Because I know for a fact this company, this stock is at least $30 a share because of the loan that just took out, right? And the pricing of the stock when they took out the loan, and the way that they work their contract. It's at least 29.49 or something like that. Anyways, so that's at least what I think, and the overall market thinks, and the fucking lenders of these $1.5 billion, they think that GameStop is at least 29.50, right? So it ran a little bit. What did I do? I sold some $30 covered calls for 2026 January, and I brought in almost $5 per share. What is wrong with that? Now, can the stock go to like $35, $34 a share, 50? I don't know. Absolutely, it can. But I am okay in my heart. I am okay selling my stock at $35 because I'm setting a 30 plus the $5 in premium, right? That's $35. My average is $13, $14. So I'm more than doubling my original investment. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. Okay, so are you scared that it's a falling knife, like Tiff was saying? Well, if that's the case, then why don't you sell some 2250s for 2026? Some 22 cash secure puts, right? And then you can, if for whatever reasons, let's say the stock decided to take a dump and it went to like 20s, you're better off. You know, you'll be averaging, $20, $19. I don't know how much is given right now for a 2250 cash secure put, but, buying it anywhere in the $20 area is insane to me. Now, could he go to 19 and 18? Of course. But if GameStop goes to $19, $18, $17, I can guarantee you, it's not going to stay there for long. There's just not enough paper. And then there's a lot of people that DRS their shares, right? And there's always that risk of it taking a gamma squeeze. So it depends, man. What do you want to do? Where do you feel comfortable? Don't let nobody tell you what to do with your money, right? Just where are you comfortable at taking a position? Let's see. I'm writing, Mark C says, I'm writing cash secure puts right now with the weekly dividends I'm getting. This is for the long game. Eventually things will come back. At these low prices, it seems to be the right thing to do, opinion. Well, I'm with you, man. I'm actually doing the same thing myself. I'm taking a premium for cash secure puts that I'm selling to even 2027. And taking big chunks and I'm going and using that premium to buy outright, at market price, whatever companies I'm looking at. I bought SMCI. I think I bought a SOXS, no, SOXL, because it's so cheap. SOXS I bought, I think, like 2 weeks ago in like the $16 area or something, or 18. It went to 40 last week, and I'm still holding because I think the volatility is going to be insane. I think that the VIX is going to spike again, and I'm looking for it to go to 50. Then I'm probably going to sell those couple of hundred shares and make a nice little coin. So always play both sides of the ball, right? Don't just hope that your stock is going to go up all the time. Um, there's a lot of securities that you can buy, um, that are pegged to the VIX, and don't decide to hedge your bets. I mean, this is what we do, right? You're literally shorting your own stock when you're selling covered calls. So what's the problem? I'm not here to marry a stock. I'm not here to have emotional attachments to a position that I take on a company. I'm here to make money. You're here to make money, and that is the approach that you should take. Is if you're here to make money, then what's the problem taking 10, 15% in cash secure put premium? Always take nice little chunks, right? So that when you do close that position, I rather feel I feel a lot better closing a position of $4 for $2 than I would feel closing a position of 30 cents for 20 cents. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah, if you look at as far as, percentages, mine's may be a little higher, but the percentages is really what matters. Some people feel like that, but like I like protecting myself in case of downturns like these, right? So if so, like for example, I sold some 2250 cash secure puts on Unity, and I took, I think, $4 in premium, or $3, right? If I get put those shares, it's still it's still more than where the market is at right now, but I have till June. So I will give the market time to do whatever it is that it decides to do. And in May, if it's still low, I can always run those cash secured puts all the way to January, right? And if I roll them, I will be bringing more premium. But it may not say at 2250. I may roll them to 20s to January. And then instead of taking a lot of premium, I may just take a cent of premium. I may pay 5 cents of premium. But I'm gonna get $250 back in collateral. So that's cash for me. So what does that do? That minimizes my risk, right? And it brings back collateral to me, so then I can find something else to do with that collateral. Always keep it moving. Always be writing, right? Always have an idea of what to do. Look, when it's time to sell covered calls, I have plan A, B, and C, right? When it's cash secure puts, plan A, B, and C. If we have days that the VIX spikes, I have plan A, B, and C. For tomorrow, I have like 3 or 4 different plans, but it doesn't. So basically, I always like to stay ahead as far as what my plans are in case the market does something unexpected, right? And that's just the approach that I think people should take. Anyways, so here we go. Tiff, Cannon Hill, Merkel ruled for 16 years. She is responsible for a bunch of issues we have today, but overall, she wasn't worse than the demand can chancellors we had. Yeah, Tiff, yeah, exactly. So yeah, Merkel, there it is. Could it have been different? Of course. But look at what was happening in the world when Merkel was around, right? I think she had to deal with fucking Trump and his idiocy, and then I think Obama, I'm sure, was a good person for her to deal with, but Obama could have been a lot more liberal for sure. I think Obama was like a Republican light uh, option we had, but that's my personal opinion. Premium of the option: the sky's falling, savage come to save the day. I wish I would charge a lot of money. All right, Manuel Cabrera, your video could. Okay, I don't know. Mark C, I'm writing cash securities weekly. Yep. Yep, I have some SoFi cash secure puts that were bought back at a loss by the algo, and after I closed cash secure puts myself on Rocket Lab. This is Beach Boy, by the way. On Rocket Lab, good, and Neo. Google and Neo. That was just Friday, not even talking about Thursday. Oh man. Yeah, see, that's why I don't go. I don't go on. I don't go on margin, man. I just, you know, it will take a little longer, right, for me to make uh, incredible amounts of money. Um, in my positions, I have a nice little portfolio, but by no means is it like millions and millions of dollars, not yet. Um, but um, some people like to go on margin to the point of like where they have $200,000 in cash, and then they take out $500,000 in collateral, or sorry, in margin, and they get caught. And then next thing you know, they're underwater, and I would hate to lose my house if I got in trouble like that. I've just seen it too many times, and I'd rather take my time using a cash only account or cash only accounts, and then going on margin because it may take a little longer, right? But I'm not going to be scared of losing my house. Let's see here. Mark C says, RGTI and QBTS premiums are not terrible. You know, I was looking at RGTI. That's robotics, right? That's a robotics company. Yeah, I don't know, man. It went up too fast, and I think it was I think our robotics is one, and then QBTS I think is quantum, right? I think I did look at it like for a second, but we're so far away from quantum being a thing, right? I think AI right now is probably going to make it so that um, the quantum stocks get better with time, but I think we're still like 5-10 years away from anything. So I mean, I'm still going to keep an eye on it, but as far as quantums, I'm kind of not jumping in just yet. I jumped into AI before everybody else did. I'll tell you that. I was looking at C3.ai and Palantir when they weren't sexy, right? And I did my research, and it panned out. So I made some nice profits, and now I'm just looking at the next, C3.ai's and Palantirs, right? Although C3.ai, honestly, it still hasn't done what it can do. C3.ai is, personally, my personal opinion, is a lot better of a company than Palantir, but I think because Palantir is a Peter Thiel company, and he's so close to Donald Trump, I think a lot of people that were in or are in Washington D.C. kind of caught wind of it, and I think that obviously, whenever politicians in the United States buy all these companies, a lot of people follow because they have inside information, right? So it should be fucking illegal, by the way, but I do it myself. I look at them and I see who's bought and what Nancy Pelosi's holding, and I buy some shit based on what she has. And I just look it up. I look at the company. I look where they're located, and I look at what they're working on. Look at the pipelines, and I make my decision. And I say, fuck it, I'll pull the trigger. And Roblox was one of them. And I bought Roblox like for $25 or something, and then it just jumped. So I sold some $50 covered calls for 2027. I took a massive chunk of change, and now I'm just chilling. All right, let's see here. What else? Quantum's not terrible. TIFF last Friday. Yep, last Friday. Mark C, yes, and more tomorrow. Yeah, so, it's so hard to say, right? I mean, conventional wisdom will tell you that tomorrow we're going to have a bloody day, right? Bloody Monday again, 2.0. And I'm prepared for that. I'm fairly certain that, we are probably going to see that. We're going to see, because of all the margin calls happening right now, I think that's going to happen. It's very likely. But if it doesn't, there's a lot of covered calls that I'll be deploying, and I'll be going to 2027. And I don't care. I did the same thing with SoFi. I was underwater like over $100,000 with SoFi with my $12 covered calls and 15s. I was underwater massively, and now I'm over water. So it's just you have to have patience, players. You have to have goddamn patience, man. My kid's 6 years old, and sometimes he wants what he wants, and I tell him, not right now, and he'll just keep, beating a dead horse, and I'll be like, dude, you need to have patience. Good things happen to people that are patient, and I guess, I guess I'm just basically telling you the same thing, guys. Is have fucking patience, man, and you'll be rewarded. I think Warren Buffett is somebody I look up to, right? Because he's not the smartest guy. I'll tell you that right now. He's not the most cunning. He's definitely not the most cutthroat, but he's the most patient. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's made so much of a profound change in the way people invest and the way we look at it. At least the way I look at investing is it's the patience factor, because he said it best. The stock market is a device that transfers wealth from the impatient to the patient. That's it. It's pretty cut and dry, and it's telling you all you need to know, right? So let's see what else. TIFF, yeah, the tariff stuff is really, really ugly. I think that it can break down a good growth company. I agree. I agree, TIFF. Um, I think that a lot of good companies are going to get sucked into the vortex of all the bullshit that's happening, and um, people that have made profits in good companies are going to sell because they have to make up the difference for the bad companies they invested in and for all the margin they went on, right? But at the end of the day, don't go out of margin like that. Stay afloat. Always, if you're gonna go in margin, I wouldn't go above 20%. I just wouldn't. Um, let's see here. Wing Commander. Wing Commander! What up, buddy? That's my boy. Yeah, man. Yeah. So the charts are telling us all we need to know, right? We're oversold, um, but we don't know what's going to happen. So at this point, just don't get anxious, man. I'm going live right now. I'm supposed to be with my kids, man, but I fucking love you guys, man, because I have a very small circle of friends, right? I'm not one of those buddy people. I don't go out drinking with a lot of people. I definitely don't invite a lot of people over. And I'm not one of those people that has hundreds and hundreds of friends, like immediate, right? But the people that I come to know, like Poto and Tiff and Birdie and Beach Boy, and I've known you guys for, well, I don't know you guys because I have actually never met any of you, but we've been around for a couple of years now, and you guys have like the same mindset that I do, and we learn from each other, and so when I see in the Discord people are having like all this anxiety, and I see what's going on and all the FUD on online, I just feel like I need to come on and I need to just basically advocate and let you guys know, hey man, it's not that bad. I mean, fuck. We had 9/11, we had COVID, literally a once in a lifetime, once every 100-year pandemic, where people did not go outside. People were indoors for like 2 years, right? And so it changed everything. Um, no need to panic, man. Don't panic. Don't make erratic decisions based on fear, and don't make like serious decisions based on how you're feeling, because we don't know what's going to happen, right? But make a plan, and I'm sure you guys have probably made a plan. I still wanted to come on and tell you guys that I am also in this, and we're in it together, and then we're gonna be all right. as option riders, we need to focus and stay laser focused on what the goal is at hand, and it is making money. And whether it's a green market or a red market, we got to navigate it. At this time, selling covered calls to 2026, 2027, it's not the worst idea in the world. Let's see what we got here. Colt. Oh, what up, Colton? Yeah, yo, brother. Ed, newbie question. Can you roll into a cash secured put from a put credit spread? Um, I mean, any type of contract that you make, you can roll, right? And whether it is moving it out in time or down in premium or both, you can do that. You can move them up, you can move them down. The question is what the premium damage would be, right? Are you gonna get a premium or are you gonna pay a cost to do so, right? And so you have to make that decision and say, is it worth it for me to do so? So it's all up to you. Let's see here. Mr. Premium of the option, arm folding works. Arm folding works, baby. I'm keep saying it, Uh, fold your arms, level 99. Oh man, I just looked at this shot back there. Look at that beautifulness, man. Look at how beautiful that looks back there. You guys see all that snow and those mountains out there? I was just out there with the kiddos, man. They're sledding and stuff and having a ball. And like at the end of the day, that's what matters, man. It's making it real, right? It's taking a position, getting in the stock market so that you can make a better life for yourself and your significant others, right? Your loved ones. And so that's it. That's the approach that you got to take on things. Make them real, and then take what the market gives you, generate premiums, and either put that towards more stock or take it out, pay some bills, and you'll feel good on days like the last week when the stocks are tanking and people have nothing to show for. This guy at work, I don't know. I mentioned it on the Uncle Bruce show. This guy at work had I don't know, like 500 shares of 700 shares of Palantir, and he bought when it was like 10 or something like that, and we were talking about just investing. He's like, yeah, I bought Palantir and I'm so happy, and I'm like, wait, did you sell covered calls on it? He's like, what is that? And I'm like, dude, the stock was at 120. You didn't sell any, like to take a profit, like 100 shares or anything? He said, no, I'm holding until it's like $350, $400. I laughed so hard because the man, it's $70 now. He's lost half the value almost of what the Palantir was at its highest, and he has absolutely nothing to show for. And he's like, what's the time to buy more? And what's the best time to buy more? And I'm like, dude, it's not yet. And I told him, if I were you, I would be okay selling some. At the time, I told him $100 covered calls for 2027, and bringing in, I think it was like $10 or $15. I so many numbers that I see all the time that, it escapes me. But the whole point is that the poor guy has nothing to show for, and I can't help but feel good. Not that it's happened to him, but I feel good because all the positions that I've taken, right, in my portfolio, I've made money on. I've sold some of those positions, and I definitely have sold covered calls on all the stocks that I own. But at the end of the day, the stock market is down. My positions are down. I have something to show for. I paid my wife's MBA. She just took her last class a couple of weeks ago, and we paid for her MBA with covered call and cash secure put money. We paid a mortgage a couple of times with a covered call and cash secure put money. I bought fridges, TVs. I'm looking at buying some sofas because before these tariffs start getting crazy, I think I want to get one or two sofas for the house, and it's gonna be covered call money. I take trips, man. I go to like the Waldorf Astoria and Beverly Hills and Monarch Bay. I'm looking to go to Utah, and go skiing with the kids, and it's covered call money. This trip right now, we just had sushi last night, and cover call money. I don't know how else to say it. It's just it's there. The money's there for the taking. These poor ignorant freaking um degenerate gambling saps are just begging you to take their money, man. So why not be kind and take it, and then give them nothing, nothing back, and then just look for the next opportunity. Once you start moving, rolling the ball. Anyways, I'm kind of tired, and I really want to go to the pool. So it's been over an hour. I'm glad I came here and I got to say what's up to you guys. Tiff, Mark C, Ricardo Canales, Wing Commander, Colton. Um, Thank you for watching, guys. Beach Boy for sure. And I hope to see you guys. Twilly Blade, thank you, brother. It's good being here and being heard, and hopefully you guys, the light bulbs go on a bit, and you guys can kind of look at your positions, right? Are you looking at Unity, you know, and are you going to sell $20 covered calls for 2027? Are you going to sell cash secure puts for 2026? Bring in some cash, get paid to buy the stock. Same thing with C3.ai, right? GME, I talked about it. You could either look at selling 25s for 2026 or 30s, or sell $20 cash secure puts, make some money. It's all up to you and whatever it is that you feel comfortable doing, right? Because at the end of the day, it's your money. Are you looking at Microsoft? Are you looking at NVDIA? NVIDIA $90 cash secure puts to 2026 would not be terrible. 2027, not terrible at all. Get paid to buy the stock. Generate cash flow. Generate income, right? It doesn't happen overnight. You may have to start with 100 shares and then just get a couple of dollars, But at the end of the day, you're getting dollars back from the stock market right now, right? And then you're making a good financial decision to start charging rent for the stock that you have in your portfolio. And that's the way you got to look at it. Your portfolio it's like a building, and you're the manager of that building, right? You're the owner, and you're charging rent to all those stocks that live in your building, and you're just saying nothing personal, but I need you to pay me some rent, right? It's just the way it is. Thank you for watching, knuckleheads. I'm the Savage of Wall Street. I'll see you guys later, man. I thank you for watching, and I'll be probably going live next Sunday. Let's see what the market holds for us tomorrow. But like I said, don't get scared. Don't get don't react on feelings. Don't act on fear. And remember, when everybody else is scared and jumping ship, that's when you need to jump on, right? When there's blood in the streets, that's when you should be the happiest. Because guess what? It's time to put the women in bed, the children, and go looking for fucking dinner. Savage, I'm out, baby. Good looking out. And remember, cash is king, but credit is power, baby.